guys, welcome back to another episode of the Money Multiplier podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Kesler, and we ask ourselves, do our dollars make sense? Good to see you again. I'm here every Tuesday for a new podcast episode. It streams on any podcast platform and on the YouTube channel. So if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave me a comment down below, ask me your questions. I'm always here to help y'all as you're continuing to build in your financial journey. And if you don't want to wait for every Tuesday, come and join me live on Thursdays, Money Mornings with Hannah. It's a live stream that goes out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, I could do better on LinkedIn if I'm being honest with you. That's a platform I really don't leverage. But that live stream is every Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, and you can catch the replays on the YouTube channels and those other social media platforms too. I'm super excited to talk to y'all today. We are at the start of August, okay? It has been hot girl summer for me over here. And it's my birthday month. So happy birthday to Hannah, 27 years old. We're getting into it. And I really want to get into the topic of where does our money continue to go? Because I know a lot of y'all, even my high income earners, you look at your bank statements each month. Maybe you're a business owner, you're looking at the profit and loss statements, the balance sheet of the business, and you're like, well, dang, I'm making really good money, but I just don't know where it's going every month. And your money should not just move through your life. It should move with intention. And I told y'all at the start of this year, that was my word for 2026 is to be more intentional where I'm investing the money, how I'm fueling my body, the foods I'm putting into myself. Hannah, it's okay to take some breaks for a little bit to go walk outside so that you can reset, get grounded again, and then come back and be performing at the top performance for your clients and your people. So intentional has been my word throughout of 2026, and I've really been following along. And I'll tell y'all what I do, and I've said it before on the pod, y'all. I go in every month, specifically in my financial life. I am going in every month and it is blocked out in my calendar. On the first Wednesday of the month, you cannot get a hold of me from 9 to noon because I'm going in and I'm looking over my financials on the business side and the personal side from the month prior. Because if you know what's going on, you'll know what to do. You're going to move with more intention. I'm setting myself up for when my property taxes come due in October. I just had to renew my license plates. That's even an expense that we got to have for ourselves. And so if you're truly prepping for this time, you will have a clear picture of how and where you should move next. And yes, I do this all from a manual standpoint. I use my Excel sheets. That's just what I do. Y'all, I'm still a pen and paper girl over here. Okay. I know I need to get with the times and it's stuff I'm working on, but my advice, and I would just encourage y'all, understand how your cash is flowing through your life. How much am I bringing in? Where is it coming from? Where am I spending the money? And understanding where your money disappears each month is going to get you 10 steps ahead compared to your peers and the masses and others that are out there. So that's my first step that I'll give y'all. Second step, start creating margins and truly an internal pool of where you're warehousing your capital. I would say the first thing is really build yourself up, whether you want to call it an emergency funds or savings. You need to have some capital stored somewhere. You don't know if we're going to ever come into another COVID time. You're going to get laid off. The transmission in your car goes out. You got to pump out dollars for that. And a lot of the times, my American families, y'all are one emergency away from completely maxing out your credit cards and then getting behind because you didn't confident plan for this unseen time. Quoting Britt Kessler, a failure to plan is a plan to fail. So that would be my second advice, is really start storing a pool of capital somewhere. And in my humble opinion, that's where the whole life policies come into play. That's where I'm storing my capital at, is inside of my banking system with the policies. So that's number two. Number three, now once you start to store the capital and building up the emergency funds, the savings, if you will, now I want y'all to start redirecting that capital towards productive assets, cash flowing assets. And y'all, I'm never going to tell you how to go make your money, how to go invest the money. But sure, if you want to have a buddy conversation, I'm here and I'll turn you on to what I'm doing, what's working out for me. I love real estate. I love private lending. I own long-term rentals. That's just what I'm into right now. And in the future, I want to expand. Storage units seem really enticing to me. The residential assisted living space, because hey, there's a huge opportunity right now for us Gen Z millennials with all of the Gen Xers and baby boomers who are moving into that time. They're calling it the silver tsunami of who's going to need this care. So that's a huge opportunity that I've truly been looking deeper into. So now once I've stored the capital, I want to flow that capital somewhere where it's actually producing me more income, more dollars. What Mama TK says, have your little green men go to work for you instead of you working for it. And then lastly, I would say diversify more than just Wall Street, right? And I would even say have a system, have a place where you are using a system that you can manage these funds. And honestly, too, with the whole world of AI, even AI can help improve how you are deploying the capital and even in your business life. So that's why I thought it was going to be a great idea today to bring on the guest for today's show, which is Devin Robinson. And let me bring him on the stage here. Mr. Devin, what's popping, my man?
What's up? How are you?
Good, very good today. How are things
Oh,
in
good.
your life?
Good, good. A lot to be thankful for. It's kind of funny. So my wife and I, we have 4 kids, and we're switching schools. So they got out of school early at one school for the summer, and then their new school goes to school late. So they've got a very long summer, and all of our kids are 8 and under, which means it's a little tough. It's a little rough, just partially because of all the lack of structure that comes with summer, and it is, oof, it's a lot. But we're thankful. I got a lot to be thankful for, and so I'm glad we're here.
And the kids always want to play with daddy.
Always, always, especially when daddy works from home. So fantastic. Yeah, it's a lot, but I'm thankful. So we're good. We're good over here.
Good, no
Yeah.
good. And hey, so okay, we started our relationship right before we hosted Money Game Live in Tampa.
Yeah.
And we have a mutual friend, Dan. And
Yep.
Dan, I admire him. I do my investing with him as well. He has referred me a whole bunch of people
Oh,
that
that's
he
great.
personally works with too. And he goes, hey, I want you to meet Devin because Devin's got this really cool software
Mhm.
of how you can manage your investors, manage raising capital. And it was perfect for my community. But before we even get there, you and I have had some conversations in the past, and
Mhm.
you have specifically told me, Hannah, I have had to rebuild.
Mhm.
May I ask you, how did you get to that position where you're like, oh, shoot, I'm now in the rebuilding period because all of my capital is totally diminished?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really interesting, I guess. So yeah, I really admire you and the way that your dad was able to come into your life and really teach you a lot of really foundational lessons about money and things like that. And I have an amazing mom, but I think I never really was able laid that foundation of like, oh, this is what you do, a whole life policy. This is what you do in real estate. This is what you do on those things. And so my whole life has always been around like when it comes to money, it's been a lot more reactive rather than proactive. And when I think when that's how you approach money, then I think it's much easier to go to zero than to be able to have, like you talked about at the beginning, like have that nest egg saved up, whether that be a savings or whether that be a or like a an emergency fund or anything like that. So like never learned that. I never learned the importance of no credit card debt. So then when I got into college, I had credit card debt, or like whatever type of loans you get for college loans. So then I've spent my whole adult life paying off loans and always paying off some sort of debt because I never understood the concept of managing that money well and not having that debt. And so for me, um, it really wasn't a culmination of all these bad decisions I was doing. It was just me not putting the right systems and pieces in place to make sure that I was safeguarded around those things. And so, and it's just a lack of education and knowledge, which is why it's so important people are listening to a podcast like this. And so then I get to a point where like I'm building up businesses, things are going well, and you think, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But then you run into something where like, I had a company and it did relatively well, but it was very event based. And then you hit a COVID. And
Yeah.
then it's like, well, then what happens when all of your events are canceled?
Yep.
Then you run out of money really quickly. And then you start pulling out loans to try to continue to bring your company afloat. And then it starts getting to where you can't pay back those loans or things like that. And so then you run into these issues where, man, I don't have any more money. Or you get into real estate and you start doing really well for a season. So this happened to me. Like I had this huge, it was a wedding photography company, photographed weddings in 30 different countries, had a big team in different states, all that stuff. And then we hit COVID, crashed, no events. So then like I had to still pay staff and still had to do certain things. And so then really went under on that. And then I got into real estate after that. And it just was one thing after another. It felt like, and then I never had the safety net to catch me any of the times. And so then got into real estate, did a lot of deals, a whole lot of deals within a short amount of time. And then what happened was then rates dropped. So then like when rates dropped, everybody stopped buying. So then now I'm into a lot of these deals, and then now deals are getting canceled, buyers are backing out, don't have the money to sustain. So then I have to lay off everybody, move out of our office, all these things because I don't have the safety net because I'm more reactive than proactive. And so then each of those times like really just felt like the world just got pulled out from under me because like I didn't have any sort of net to stop me from falling. And like I just remember sitting in my office by myself with all my team gone, not knowing about the next deal that we were going to do because I didn't have that net. And so really it was one of those things where even in that time, it was like, okay, I mean, I got no other choice. I've got family, I've got people that rely on me. And so I really just was like, okay, for me, it's if there's a wall, I just push through that wall and continue to keep going. But at the same time, being really wise about not being wise or being more, I guess it would be wise, right? Like a smart person learns from their own mistakes. A wise person learns from others' mistakes. And I've been lucky enough to learn from my own and others. And so mine have been really hard. But like even in those, just applying the knowledge that I gained in those time of being like, okay, now I have to set these things aside because then even if I have money set aside, taxes are going to come out and all these things are going to come out. And so you have to have just like an abundance of how much whatever you think you have to have way more than that to sustain what may happen. Because like at any time and throughout the last couple of years, it was always like, oh, rates are going to come back up. Rates are going to come back up because I ended up starting, and this is what's gotten me to where I am now. Is like I ended up starting a real estate fund, bought a lot of property in the southeast of the U.S. Still have, we still do that. I still operate a certain aspect of that real estate fund where we do currently buy a lot of property and then we sell it pretty quickly. But at the same time, I learned a lot of lessons of, oh no. So to still have that real estate fund, and that's what's gotten me to where I am right now is like raising that capital, learning this lesson of like, okay, if you have money, one, I have to be a fiduciary of other people's monies. But if I have money, making sure that something like rate cuts aren't determining the health of my business, or making sure that doesn't determine the success or the fall of what I'm doing, padding in those numbers, or padding in our investments, or padding in those things with, okay, if something were to happen, do we have the backup for it? So I'm now being more proactive rather than reactive like I was initially. And so I guess the long answer to your short question was like, I think it stemmed from not having a proper base and foundation of financial literacy and education. I'm trying to build that up, learning through experience, and then now applying through those lived experiences. Because I think like our advantage, like our superpower, our advantage is our learned experiences. And so if we're able to take those, actually apply them and actually execute on our learned experiences, then I think like for me that's what's gotten me to be where now we're recovered and feeling a lot better than where we've ever felt. So yeah, I guess that's how to answer your question. Sorry.
No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. No, because honestly, the big PSA that I heard is, yeah, I can't determine the family I'm born into. I can't
Yeah.
determine how my mom and dad are living their life and how they want to educate me as their child. But
Hmm.
now that I know this knowledge now, my ask PSA to my parents out there, start having these conversations at a young age.
Yeah.
That's the best thing that my family has ever done is dad really got us down sitting around the kitchen table and talking about this stuff. Stop making it such a taboo subject because it's a way of our life. We have to have capital, we have to support ourselves. And yeah, this is a capitalist society, whether you like it or not. So don't hate the player, hate the game, and
Yeah.
let's just get in there and start playing.
That's right.
And dad would even make the joke. He goes, how I started to talk about Hannah, Zach, and Sean about money is I would gather them all together and I would say, hey, kids, you want to go get ice cream? And they'd all be like, yeah, let's go get ice cream. And then we load up into the Lincoln Navigator at the time.
Mhm.
And we drive down to, it was not Culver's, not Andy's. It was the other ice
Cold
cream place,
Stone.
maybe. But it was one local to Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
And he would always go, hey, the reason I would do this with the kids is because then I can talk to them about money and no kid is going to hop out of a moving car.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny.
Oh,
That's
now
awesome. Tricked you.
now, no, it is important though. I do suggest that the step is accumulate some capital somewhere. My opinion is a policy
Mhm.
because, hey, I want tax free growth, I want liquidity, I
Yep.
want protection, and I want to be able to use my money when I want for whatever I want. But then once I get to that point, I'm trying to exchange instead of me trading my time for my money. How can I allow my money to go work for me elsewhere? And the question I want to ask you, because this is a big one, especially in real
Yeah.
estate, do I need to have six figures to get into real estate investing? What would your response be?
Not at all. Not at all. And it's so interesting too, because like that's and I think this is really interesting. Now, one of the big reasons why I love what I do is there's this very systemic aspect to like my life. I'm black. I grew up in LA, gangs, drugs, all that stuff. And so owning a house to me, I was like, that's the American dream. Oh my gosh, it's incredible. You own a house? That's crazy. And now like I'll be in front of a house and I'll be FaceTiming my kids, and my kids are like, oh, daddy, are we buying that house today? Like, oh, are we buying that house today? And they come with me to closings and stuff like that. And it's so cool because like the whole paradigm shift, like for my kids of just like, yeah, of course you own a house, you do this. And so no, you don't need six figures to buy a house. It's funny because if you really like dive into it, you can get houses for no money, even no other people's money. But
Yep.
one of the big things that a lot of people will do is if you have friends or if you know people and they've got money sitting in an old 401k, which we don't, right? You want to put that into a policy. Well, go ahead and put that stuff into a policy. But if you have old 401k, old like our IRA from a past employer that don't that you don't work for anymore, then you can move that into a self-directed IRA and invest that or something like that into other people's deals. So if you
Yep.
know somebody that you used to work with, they changed jobs and you've got a real estate deal that you're thinking about buying, you can have that person, invest with you on that deal, and then you can pay them more than they were making in that old IRA. And so you could definitely borrow money from other people to be able to buy real estate. And it just is crazy. You have not you have not because you ask not, or we don't know. We just don't know what you don't know is like real estate is a really interesting game. You just have to learn how to play it. You just
Yeah.
have to learn to play it.
Yeah. Hey, sorry to interrupt the episode here, but I want to take a quick break. If what you're hearing today has made you curious about infinite banking, how it works, I want you to go watch my free presentation. In it, I walk you through the same steps that my family took to pay off $984,000 of debt in 39 months, and how we've been able to recycle and recapture every single dollar since then. This isn't theory. This is real. I mean, this is what the wealthy have been using used in over 200 years to keep the money within the family. This is literally where banks, conventional banks, store a boatload of their dollars at. And it's the same process that we've helped thousands of families across the country put into action. So go to themoneymultiplier.com/presentation and see for yourself how you can start taking control of your money today. All right, let's get back into the episode. And have the mentors there who will guide you too, because I do know
That's right.
there are mistakes that people can make,
A lot.
and
Yeah.
especially too if you are raising capital using other people's money, you do have a duty to
Mhm.
be respectful with their dollars, because at the end of the day, they're putting their faith in you.
That's right.
And matter of fact, Devin, before we even hopped on here to this recording, I had a client call me up because she has a nonprofit, a 501c3, and she tunes into the show and she knows that I have my own foundation and then I donate to various 501c3s. And she was asking me, what is a good way that I can start raising true capital? Like, yeah,
Mm.
I'm getting some people over here, some people over here, but I want people to see my mission and I want them to support us
This is
on
good.
this cause. And how can I communicate this with them so that they'll want to donate to me? And I told her point blank, I said, I've never raised capital. However, from a business mindset, I'm always thinking about the value add. How am I
Mhm.
solving this person's problem? So that's why I wanted to ask
This is
you,
great. I
as
love
we're
this.
talking, how do I even start with raising capital? Where should I
Yeah, this is
go?
so
What do
good.
I do?
Yeah, this is so good, especially because now we haven't even gotten into like the AI side of things. But anyways, I digress. We'll get there soon. But so Maya Angelou has a quote, and I love this quote. And I bring this into my quote. I bring this in when I talk about raising capital because I think it's really important, and it hits on exactly this lady and what you were just talking about, or this person that you were just talking to. She says, "People will forget what you say, they'll forget what you do, but they'll never forget how you make them feel." And so for me, one of the big ways that I do this is I think it's people I think actually people nowadays more than ever crave like experiential investing. And
Yeah.
what I mean by that is it's no longer like a oh hey look my money makes 5 6 7 8% whatever, like that's cool. But I think people also want to feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves. They feel like they're making an impact. So I'll talk to investors and I'll be like, look, and I'll go back in a second, but I talk to them and I go, look, your money will make money. Like that's the easy part, but your money is also going to make an impact because once you start working with like higher net worth people, they're more on the like the wealth retention side of things, but they also are now more on like the impact side of things. So if
Yeah.
their money can actually make an impact while they make money, that's like the double whammy. So I'll share with people and like I just share a lot on my social media. I'll share if I'm actively raising, I'm sharing stories. I'm sharing the impact. I'm sharing the legacy, the vision of what we're building, not the you can make 8% by parking your money with me. It's the this is the impact we're making. And let hear from some of my investors and how they feel about the impact that they're making. Look, this is Tom. Tom invested 50K with us. And then look, Tom, because of Tom's money, this family, like this family is saved from, in our instance, a lot from foreclosure, or like this community is rebuilt. We're right now building 18 units of affordable housing in a part of Charlotte that's it's not rundown. It's very close to Charlotte, but it's a little rundown. And so it's like we're rebuilding a legacy there. So then on that one, I go to the Carolina Panthers players, some of the athletes in the area, and go, "Hey guys, why don't you take your money from playing football for the Carolina Panthers and rebuild this section of Charlotte?" And they're like, yes. Like, yes. One, that's a good PR look for them.
Yeah.
But two, like that's them going and contributing back to the community in a really massive way that their money, like they're not going and building, they're not doing those things, but their money is contributing to that. So then if I can connect their investment to impact, then that makes it significantly easier and then create that emotional aspect. That's the
Yes.
part where Maya Angelou says, they'll forget what you say, they'll forget what you do, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And if you can make them feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves, that they're actually making a difference in the world, then that's like one of the easiest ways, I think, to be able to get people to invest in you, especially if you believe deeply in what you're doing. Um, Now, there's two aspects, right? There's the nonprofit side of things that you're talking about. There's the rebuilding certain parts of Charlotte, but then there's also the money making side, right? Like this is just going to make money. This is just gonna, I don't even know what else to do. This is just going to make money. But if you can also make them feel like, hey, it's impacting the community by building these apartment complexes. We are doing a ton with the assisted living facilities by helping with that silver tsunami and helping put people in better situations than old overstuffed and overpopulated assisted living home. Like we're doing those things, then they are making money, but they're also connecting their money emotionally to what they're doing and what you're doing. And I think at the end of the day, when you're talking about nonprofits and things like that, you have to be able to translate the direct impact, emotional impact with the investment, like the capital investment. And I think if you can do that, then you won't have any problem raising capital for anything like that.
You win all day long. Dude,
Yeah.
I was just in a because I don't have cable, okay? And I was in a hotel and the TV was playing and the age-old commercial that we've all seen, that
Oh yeah, the dog.
ASPCA dogs commercial.
The arms of an angel.
And once it got over, I was like, I feel like a douchebag if I don't pull out my credit card right
Yeah,
now and donate some money to
yeah, they
them.
got you.
It is, it's important, it's that feeling, because my mentor has always said, hey, people do not buy from you or do
Mhm.
business with you because of what you do. That's a part of it, but it's more so they're buying who you are. They want to
Mhm.
either be like you or they want to be around people who are like you.
Yep.
And I truly believe that if you make that emotional connection with them, making the impact, and then also can solve their problem, you're going to get it each and every time that you're asking.
Yep.
So it's just been a world that I have not had any experience in. And so that's why I wanted to bring it up with you, because there is a difference, right? Okay, I do private lending.
Yep.
There's a difference between lending and having a fund.
Mhm.
And Devin, can you tell
Very
me
different.
just logistically, legally, I should say, what makes it different?
Yeah. So if you're talking about now, I can geek out on this. I love this. So now, if you're talking about lending in a fund, you're most likely talking about, I would say, the capacity and the context in which you're doing it. If the context and is just this is one deal, and on this one deal, I carry a deed of trust or a promissory note, and I expect this type of return, you're fine. Once you get and I guess we can backtrack and define what a security is, because the securities, the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission, and I'm going to really try not to bore people with stuff like this. But what a security is anytime anybody puts money into an investment and expects a return with zero effort, that is a security. So if they go, hey, I'm not doing anything, I'm giving you my money and I expect this return, that's a security. But if you can say it's on, one deal, it's collateralized or something like that, then the SEC does not categorize that as a security. They categorize that as a loan against a property or in a business, because you have created some sort of documentation for some single purpose and you're not pulling money together to do it. It's one person, one deed of trust, one promissory note, whatever, giving you money. And then they expect a return based on their performance of giving you that money. So then in that is a loan. But if I have a deal, or if I have, yeah, even if I have, and this is where it gets like, especially for real estate operators, 70, that's a pretty blanket. It's probably more. 70, I was going to say 70% of real estate operators I know raising capital are violating SEC laws. Like
Yeah.
they just are. And because like they don't understand what a security is, they don't understand all these things. And so, but if I have a property and I am trying to raise capital for that property and I'm pulling investors, two is like, that's fine. You start getting into like three or more investors on a single property, then like you're in a very gray area and you can start violating SEC regulations and laws pretty quickly. And so if these three people or four people are sending us money, expecting a return and not doing anything about it, then I need to register. Technically, I need to register with the SEC. Or you start an LLC and all of them are members on the LLC, but they have to prove that they have some sort of active participation in that LLC. So that is the difference between like a fund and an investment. Because now I have to go and start a fund because I have multiple investors pulling money together, expecting a return, and they're not doing anything really. Now I have to start some sort of fund syndication. They do have what's called investment clubs, but investment clubs require voting participation. So you don't regulate, you don't have to register, but they have to participate. So if I'm going to pool capital, they'll be passive. then I most likely have to start some sort of regulated fund with the SEC.
Yeah.
Long answer to your short question. Sorry.
No, it's good, but it's good information though because
Yeah.
hey, there's no real estate school they can just go and clock into.
And that's why, so there's two parts to this. That's why, like, I run into so many people violating these rules and regulations. But that's also why, like, I really believe in what I do, because I mean, again, diversify Wall Street for me is, there's $82 trillion in assets under management in the US, and only 1.4% of that is managed by minorities and women. So that means that,
Interesting.
yeah, so that means 98.6% of all money in America is managed by just white men. And it's just because of history, and that's just how it's been. But what I also see is a massive, massive, massive lack of education amongst minorities and women in that space. And so that's why there's a lot of people violating these SEC laws and these regulations, is because they just don't know. Like, they just don't know at all. And so for me to come into this space, is it's so important for people to have that understanding and know those things, because it really is a space where people just don't know. And it's not that they are actively trying to violate laws. They just think it's okay and have no idea that
Uh-huh.
the SEC has regulated it.
100%,
Yep.
100%. And so Devin,
Yep.
here's what I want to ask you, okay? Because on the topic of where does our money go each month and why does
Yeah.
it feel
You're
so
great.
hard to get ahead? You, my friend, have used AI
Yeah.
to literally track your expenses and your
Every
cash
like,
flow
every
each month.
dollar, every single day, every single dollar. So it's funny because I we were on a call, you know, on a call, and I was like, look at my email. This tells you every single dollar that comes into every single account. Like, I have three businesses that generate income. So here's all of those. Here's my personal accounts. Here, it's so funny. And now I have to preface this, Hannah. Where, like, everybody's not like me. I've come to the conclusion that I'm like the guy that I really do think so. I'm 37, and when I'm like 60 to 65, I will be the guy that gets like a Neuralink, because in my brain, because like I at that point, that's when, like, life starts to you start to hurt a little bit more. You get injured, like, health scares. My brain starts to get fuzzier. But if, like, I can have AI know everything about my body, once I start getting sick, my doctor knows. Like, once something happens in my body, like if a tiny tumor starts to form that could have taken years to find, my body knows and it's told my doctor. Like, if I'm like, I can't remember what was going on yesterday, I'm sure Neuralink will help me. So that, like, I'm like that type of person. And I say that because I have linked AI with like every part of my body, not my body, in my life, including my bank accounts, including my scale at home, including like everything about my health, my blood, like my atrium. Atrium is the hospital here. So when, like, I get testing done, it goes straight into like I have what's called a second brain. Please don't get me started. Don't get me started on this stuff. But I literally have a second brain that does everything. And I this is really funny. I was at the pool the other day, and my business partner was like, "Oh man, thanks so much for sending that email to them." And I was like, "I got no idea what you're talking about." So, like,
Yeah,
I'll be at the pool, and my AI is like reading all my emails and then responding and sending them based on the context of everything that it has on, like, in our Slack channels, in my Discord, and in my different emails. It just knows, and so it just does. Now, everybody's not like that, but so I've done that with that's what I've done it with my finances, because I know me, my AI knows me, but I know me, and I know that unless I see it every day, unless I know what exactly every dollar is doing, unless I know my current credit score, unless I know all of these things, then I won't keep up with it. Unless I have it telling me, I won't keep up with it. I won't look. I won't do this, and then it'll get falling behind or whatever. So it tells me, it's like, this is your amount of runway you have left for the month. This is what your investments are doing. This is what, and then, like, even at the bottom, it gives me, here's what's going on in the world now, and then, like, you may want to move this money into this money. Like, it tells me all that because it knows I can't keep up with it and I can't do it, but I have so much going on that if I can make that a little bit easier for me, then I know that I can then further optimize, because I want to be 1% better every day. I'm not looking to, like, change the world overnight, but if I can be 1% better every day just by knowledge of what's going on, then that's going to be, like, very helpful. So yes, AI is everywhere in my life, and I get those emails and they are full financial breakdowns, and it looks cool. Like, I like how
you're
visual it is.
professional.
Yeah, visual. I get them every single Monday. Sorry, every single morning at 7:30 a.m.
Yeah.
and
It,
it's helpful.
and that's how we're just a little different, but it's okay because there's there's no one silver bullet for everybody. And why I wanted to bring this up is do what works for you.
Yep.
For me, it's my Excel sheet. I'm happy there. I'm comfortable there. At some point, yes, I'm going to probably and maybe want to implement some AI, some automation to what I'm doing. But right
Yep.
now, it's working. I love it.
Yep.
Where Devin is on the whole other side of the spectrum, where he is utilizing AI, the technologies that we do have in 2026 here today.
Mhm.
So do what works for you. But at the end of the day, we're tracking our stats. We're doing the same
Right.
goal, the same task together. It's how it gets done. I don't care how it gets done, but I just want to make sure that it is getting done, you
Yeah,
know?
that's exactly right. And that's the thing, right? They say knowledge is power because I really do think, and I found myself, and I guess this goes back to one of your original questions. When I was like at the bottom, I wasn't looking at my bank. I wasn't looking at these things because it made me depressed, right? And
Yeah.
so for me, and people, they either fight, flight, or freeze. And I think in a lot of times when it comes to finances, we run. Like, I don't want to see it. It's out of sight, out of mind. I'm not reminded of it. But I think I personally, I need those reminders. I need to know. I need to know what I need to do. I need to see progress. And I think that progress is what continues to push you forward. And then, like, whatever the milestones are, it doesn't matter. So mine has like it's funny. Mine has like a year. What I want my my monthly income personally to be, and I've got a tracker. It tells me what each business contributes to that monthly income so that I know this is how close I am to that. So I keep looking at that. And it's really cool to be like, oh, okay, all right, check that out. Like I'm getting closer. So it's really nice to see like what's contributing. And then sometimes if one month is down, like one company's down that month, because I mean, let's face it, I run companies and so I'm doing distributions. And sometimes it depends on how well that month that the company did.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, oh, okay, that's a direct reflection of me and what's going on. It's a direct correlation to me and how much I'm able to bring home for me and my family. So it's cool to be able to track those things for me because it keeps me motivated. And that's not for everybody, but that's for me. So it's been cool.
And would you be open to sharing that with the community of what you're doing? Okay, and maybe this is where we'll segue. You have your platform, and I know I have some of my people who are using your platform,
Mhm.
and it's a place of where you've really integrated automation, AI, and it's not another employee that you have to hire. You can literally use this software, which is
Yeah.
cheaper, and to get more work done and to manage your investors, manage the deals that you have going on. But I wanted to ask too, do you have that platform where you're doing your expenses at? Is that something that people could ask you questions on?
So it's actually so like that part is not. So that's just so I use it's funny. One of the companies I also run is a fractional chief AI officer company. So we
Okay.
build out a lot of things for people in their companies. So I built that out for myself, but it is literally, it's like if anybody uses Claude or they use Codex or things like that, it's a skill or repository that I'm happy to share, but it's not like, oh,
Yeah.
it actually is. You could plug this in and it starts working. You just put your information on there, but like, it's not like it's not like a software. One of the things I really would suggest as far as the software is concerned, it's a company called Monarch Money,
Yep.
Monacr, yeah, Monarch. I love Monarch Money. So what happens is my thing pulls from Monarch Money, but then it also aggregates from this account, this account. But like Monarch Money does like a lot of that, and so I've been able to pull a lot of that stuff from there and then connect the rest of the stuff from there. So even just like a 0 to 1 would be go get something like Monarch Money because it does a good job aggregating your investments, your accounts, your debts, and all that stuff. They've done the best job for my brain that I have
Yep.
found.
Hey, in your business of the CFO work,
Mhm.
where have you been seeing businesses or individuals lose money? Where's that leaky bucket at? Just out
Okay,
of
cool. So
curiosity.
and this is for clarity, I don't do CFO. If I said that, I don't think so. It's fractional chief AI officer, CAIO.
Oh, I
Yeah,
got you.
yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So which is very interesting. 70% of enterprise companies either have or are hiring a chief AI officer, which is very interesting. So everybody knows that you should have one, but people are like, I don't know, I don't know where to start, or I don't know what models to use. I don't know. So then we come in as people's fractional chief AI officer and we help to strategize and then build specifically for people's companies. So that part. So when it comes to money, I am not the money guy for any of my companies. You don't I implement, I build, I implement, I hand off. That's one thing I know about myself is like I'll build, I'll implement it, and if I hold on to it too long, it doesn't do too well. So I have to hand it off pretty quickly. But that's just knowing my strengths and who I am. But for the finances side of things, I couldn't tell you. So we don't do a CFO, we don't do fractional like CFO stuff.
And that was just probably me and my sick brain today though too, because that's my world. Like I'm familiar with the CFO side where
Yeah.
you're more familiar with the AI side. So I think we just kind of blended them both together. And but let me ask you this though too,
Yep.
because even at I just got back from traveling all around with the insurance companies, and a big conversation that's been happening within the life insurance space is some of these insurance companies are actually not even having a case touch a real life human
Mm,
underwriter, and they're allowing AI to underwrite that
okay.
person, which is cool, but
That
also
seems a lot.
me
Yeah.
being a little old school, I'm like, I have some concerns.
Yeah.
What if your AI person issues a contract to somebody and they pass away 2 years later, and now there's some financial strengths on the company because your AI underwriter is not doing its proper due diligence like a human underwriter would. And so, where is that gray line of, because I've heard it before, like on social media, hey, if I'm going to implement I want to make sure I'm doing it in the correct way, because
Yep.
if you try to optimize AI in a system that's not working, you're then just going to destroy yourself. It's not going to be any beneficial and actually be worse off than where you're at now. Do you see what the question I'm
Oh, a
asking? Like,
hundred
where is
percent.
that line?
100%. So, and what's interesting is if you would have asked me that question a year ago, I would have been like, yes, no place. Like you're right, human in the loop. So it's what it's like referred to, human in the loop. So
Mhm.
important and essential. I still do think human in the loop is very essential for certain aspects of it. Like there's, and like you're talking about now, this may be like if a CEO would be like, no, I actually don't want that aspect of it. Is like there's an emotional aspect of insurance that I think is necessary. Because like when you're dealing with people's lives and things like that, you you got to have a heart. I just feel like you got to have a heart. But insurance companies, they're probably like, we don't need a heart because we need your money. Anyways, but I will say, they have gotten being of use from using it firsthand and being very restricted by AI in what I want to do. I actually have seen that these models that come out are a lot more one empathetic, which is kind of wild. They have like empathetic tendencies, but they are very guarded, very safeguarded from things just like you're talking about, to where like they're going and they're making mistakes. Um, if I am a person that's just building as an individual because I like AI, there will be a lot of mistakes. Like if
Mm,
somebody just goes on and is just like, oh, oh, I want to build something with Lovable or with Replit or with one of these things, there will be a lot of mistakes. But then, then you'll get to another level of building and understanding to using these AI models of like, okay, well then I use one model to plan, and then I use another model to build, and then I use another model to review. And so then what ends up happening is there's a lot that's caught in between that, I mean, I don't like to say it, but like almost eliminates what you're talking about in that due diligence process. But if
yeah.
somebody just relies too heavily on one model, then yes, you'll get that a lot. You will. But I think, and my hope is that some of these larger companies that are implementing this are implementing it with that understanding of, if I am using AI, what are the guardrails? What's the review of this like? Because AI hallucinates. It does, which is why you have multimodal review from different LLM or foundational models, is because some are just better than other models at certain things. And I
Mhm.
can't tell you, Claude Fable 5 is like the big thing. Oh my gosh, everybody loves Fable 5. Oh, like if you look at the memes, it's like they took Fable 5 from us. Oh, like and but like if you use Fable 5, which so many people rely on, and then don't review it with something like Codex, it it will not be good, because I'll go and I'll do Fable 5 and then I'll review Codex, and then like Claude will be like, "Oh, I'm glad we did that. Codex found 6 high risk things wrong with what I built." And then it'll
Wow.
go back and refix it. And so like it hallucinates. And so I would say a year ago, I would definitely have those concerns. But as it gets smarter and as it gets better, and as people learn how to actually use these models, my hope is that these larger companies that are like instituting these AI reviews and due diligence, one, still do have a human in the loop as a final review, but also are using like multimodal reviews and things like that to eliminate those risks. I think it is possible to like 99.9% eliminate those risks with the right processes in place. And there's enough open source information and public information to be able to do that because I've done it a ton with what I'm doing.
No, that's helpful. That's helpful
Yeah.
because I've even just started noticing on the end of some of my AIs, like when I'm chatting with it, it'll say, "We can make mistakes, check important info." And I
Yeah.
didn't see that before when you were using some of this technology. So
Yeah.
that's helpful. I mean, even as somebody who is very in the boonies on this stuff,
That's good though. But like
I'm just
everybody is.
right. I'm a 26-year-old girl, but I'm a 60-year-old woman at the end
I
of the
love
day
it. I love it.
too.
No, you got what you need. You're doing well. You're killing it.
But no, that's very helpful as they can check themselves, if
Yep.
you will.
Yeah.
So Devin, last thing for you, are you raising capital right now?
I well, so I am. Yeah, I'm raising capital for that deal that we have, that 17 units that we have in Charlotte. But we always are raising capital for deals because we come, man, we buy like in the last 2 weeks, it's probably like 10 houses, and so we get so many things that we're doing, and so we're always raising capital for deals like single family deals in around the Charlotte, and we do a lot of new builds because one thing that I found when things got really hard for my fund, two things. One, the importance of communicating and over communicating, extremely important. If you're raising capital, the statistics are like crazy. It's like 60% of people, even if they made good returns, would never reinvest if the person didn't communicate well. Even if they made good returns, if the person didn't communicate, they won't reinvest with them. And so,
Hmm.
really, the huge key of raising capital and making more, because the numbers also are like if a person invests with you one time, the second time they're going to invest like 50% quicker and over 2 times as much next time. And so it's not even about the amount that they make. Again, not what you did, not what you said. It's how you made them feel. Did they feel secured by you? Did they feel like you communicated well? Did they feel like they knew what was going on? Did they feel like they could trust you? Those type of things, if you communicate well, then that is what gets you more money. So are we raising capital? Yes, we are. We're always raising capital for our deals, for um, our single family, mostly new builds. Because this is what I said: new build flipping in Charlotte and flipping around the U.S. now. It's cheaper to buy a house, a new build, than it is to buy a flip. And so flips are not doing well at all. So we went through a really tough spot in our fund where we were flipping, and it was not doing well at all. And so then I communicated, and then we had to pivot. So now we flip, and then we buy a lot of properties on creative financing in Charlotte because we get 2% interest. We just got a house next week with a 2.7% interest rate. Like,
There we
we
go.
can't do that. So we do a lot of creative financing stuff that we do have people lend with us and help us to fund with.
Yeah. And this is what I'm saying, y'all. If you continue to always go and trade your time for money, we're not going to get out of the rising cost of living, housing prices, car insurance. Everything's just getting more expensive. We know that, okay, due to the hidden tax we call
Yeah,
inflation,
that's right.
especially right after the COVID time and the Fed printing out a whole bunch of money. So, how do I get ahead? I get myself into asset classes that produce me cash flow. It's my capital is protected. That's something as an investor is I do want to have it some collateral there. I want it protected. If something goes south, which you should be asking the questions, hey, what is the worst case scenario? What could go wrong here? These are the questions that you need to be asking your partners
Mm-hmm.
as you continue to grow and develop as an investor. This will just get you farther ahead. I'm
For
at the
sure.
end of the day, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build up my passive income dollars so that if I decide to wake up one day and just decide I don't want to do strategy calls today, I'd rather go sit my ass on the boat today, I can go and do that.
That's
Or
right.
like today, Hannah, you're a little sick today. You could have just canceled all your stuff, but hey, I had commitments. I'm here. I'm going to do it. But if I wanted to, I could just say, nope, cancel, cancel, cancel. We'll
Mm-hmm.
talk later, right? It's
Yeah,
the
awesome.
freedom and the autonomy over your time. And that's what I really want y'all to get to and just Not waking up when you're 65 years old thinking, what in the hell did I do with all these
That's
years
right.
of my life?
Hmm.
So I do have Devin's email up here on the screen if y'all are
Hey.
watching us on YouTube. Devin, I didn't even ask though. This
Oh,
is
that's
a
great.
good
That's awesome.
email though, right?
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's fine.
All right. For my audio listeners, it's Devin at fundflowos. Is that how I
That's right.
pronounce it? Dot
Unflow
com.
OS. Yeah. Operating system. Perfect. Thank
Okay.
you.
Hey, and then also I do want some of my people, if you are raising capital, if you are
Sure.
managing investors, Devin does have a really cool platform that I mentioned earlier that a lot of my clients will use. So fundflowos.com, go to that site. And I think, Devin, is
Mhm.
this promo code still working, the Money Game
It
promo code?
does. That still works for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and if they
Beautiful.
use that, yeah, and if they use that, they'll get 50% off their first 3 months. And then we didn't really talk about it, but if you are raising capital, if you manage investments or investors, we built this platform to be the smartest and an agentic platform for raising capital, managing those investors. So we literally have all of the people who have lent on private real estate deals in the US in our system, plus, I mean, honestly, you could search Delta airline pilots, and then agent will reach out to them and begin to nurture a relationship with them and direct them to your investments and raise the capital for you. And then they can also be able to manage those loans or your fund. And we do all the way to your, your KYC and your accreditation and your fund administration inside of there as well if you launch a fund.
What makes this one different compared to the other software that's out there?
Oh, great question. I love this. So, a couple of different things. One, a lot of times I'll listen and I'll listen because I listen to a lot of the people who started those other companies, and they'll say, "Oh, like yeah, we're adding on AI or whatever." Ours is very agentic first. My business partner, he's got his master's in machine learning, so we wanted to build a platform that actually can go out and actually like raise the capital for you because you have two issues. One of the issues is I need more money. The second issue is I need my investors to feel good about where their money is. So we've got the platform and we've got the money raising side all in one, where before you'd have to go and get multiple different platforms to do that thing. And so we've connected them. We've made it work for you so that you don't have to. And then we've also made sure that one, we've got a really good community around it so that we can come in and we'd be able to help you to. I can't help you to raise capital. I can't raise capital for you, but we can help you to do all that stuff, launch your fund, do the docs and all that stuff. One of my partners is an SEC attorney, so we have everything in house to be able to help people to do that.
That's good. And I'm just saying, y'all, my people love it. So go check it out
Oh,
if
thank
this
you.
is your area that you're looking to expand deeper into. Have a conversation with Devin. He's
Please.
very personable, very, very easy to get a hold of. So Devin at funflowos.com. And Devin, is there anything else that you want to leave the community or the listeners? I didn't ask you.
Oh, okay. So I would say a couple things. For me, I always tell my kids, whenever anybody asks me some of those things, I like to leave the lessons of like what I tell my kids. One, um, be fearlessly authentic in who you are. I think it's so important in an age when everybody wants to be copycats, wants to be an influencer. Be fearlessly authentic in who you are and don't climb the ladder of success on the wrong wall because you'll look up when you're 60 and you'll realize that what did you live your life for? Like what was that for? So I would say like if I can leave one, I have the three lessons that I leave my kids, but that's one for sure.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, my guy.
Yeah,
So thank you. No,
yeah of
seriously,
course.
thank you for coming
Thank
in
you.
and sharing your expertise. You know a lot more about this crap than what I do, so it's very helpful. And I always say, always appeal to self-interest. Y'all think I'm bringing Devin on for y'all? I want to know this stuff, so that's why he's on the show.
You're awesome.
But I will see you next time. Money multipliers. I'm gonna catch y'all as well in about a month from now. Okay, I'm gonna be in Cleveland, Ohio. There's the home care symposium happening. Reach out to me. I do have some free tickets to give away, and once the tickets are gone, I only got 4 of them. Then there is a coupon code that I can give y'all to come and hang out. So home care symposium. My operators, my RAL people, the caregivers in the homes. It's a place in a community where y'all can do business together, thrive together. And I'm thinking about one guy in particular that I'm going to reach out to. And he's probably, his ears are ringing right now. He probably knows who I'm talking about. But I'll be out there, Cleveland, Ohio, coming up. And then after that, we got more travel. So just stay connected on themoneymultiplier.com. There's a calendar on the homepage. Click that events calendar, and then you can see where myself, Brent, Chris Noggle, where we're at around the country. But other than that, thank you y'all for being here. If you have questions, you know where to find me. Send me an email, hannah@themoneymultiplier.com. And until next week, be well, do good. Don't do anything that I want to do, money multipliers. See you then. If you really enjoyed this episode, you'll really like this one.